Welcome to this explainer of the 8 brain rules. Today we are literally upgrading your mental operating system from totally exhausted to fully optimized. It's wild to think about, right? You have the exact same 24 hours in a day as an elite Olympic athlete or a groundbreaking scientist. But the difference between you and them isn't some kind of magic trick. It's that they know how to operate their brain's biology differently. They know the hidden mechanics. Well, let's figure out how to do exactly that.
So let's dive right into this highly relatable pain point. You've got the same amount of time as those elite performers, but you're waking up completely drained. Have you ever felt like your own brain is just putting up roadblocks everywhere? You know the feeling. You have a massive to-do list, your energy is sitting at absolute zero, and the second you sit down to focus, distractions just start dancing in your head. Phone notifications go off, social media calls your name, and you have that constant, nagging urge to switch gears every 5 minutes.
Look, this feeling of constant fatigue and distraction, it is not a personal failure. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a user error. Neuroscience shows us exactly how our brains get tangled up in distractions and completely hijacked by shiny object syndrome. The main issue is that we're often playing against our brain's biology instead of working with it. Every single time you fight your natural wiring, you're leaking valuable energy. We need to find those hidden shortcut buttons to master our mind, to turn on motivation, delete laziness, and manage our stress. And the best part? The rules to do this are already inside you. We just need to unlock them.
Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We've grouped the 8 rules into 5 thematic areas to give you a complete toolkit. We'll cover your brain's hidden power, sleep and exercise, the science of focus and breaks, understanding stress and emotions, and finally, the magic of visuals and repetition. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, your brain's hidden power. Let's look at why we desperately need to change our fundamental approach to productivity.
Just look at this stark contrast here. On one hand, you have an overheating brain battling endless notifications. On the other, a mind functioning smoothly on its natural biology. Imagine a day where you wake up feeling incredibly fresh, your mind operates with crystal clarity, and you finish every task ahead of time without feeling any pressure. Honestly, that optimized state is not a fantasy. It's exactly what happens when you stop forcing your brain into a burned-out state of constant multitasking and zero baseline energy. When you allow your mental OS to operate how it's actually designed to, you tap into this natural, flowing motivation that requires zero pressure.
Moving right along to Section 2, sleep and exercise. These are the physical foundations of your productivity, acting as literal brain fuel rather than just basic physical maintenance.
The absolutely crucial thing to grasp here is that sleep is not just resting. It is an intense, active reset button. We kind of have this habit of treating sleep as a luxury, right? We sacrifice it for late-night scrolling. But when you are asleep, your brain goes to work. Scientifically speaking, a network called the glymphatic system actually opens up and washes away the toxic byproducts that build up during the day. It's literally taking out the neurological trash. While that's happening behind the scenes, your brain is busy organizing memories and balancing your emotions. You wake up with natural motivation because your brain is physically clean, not because you forced yourself to chug 3 cups of coffee.
I absolutely love this quote because it forces a really critical question. Are you putting your brain to sleep or are you burning it out? Prioritizing sleep means giving your brain the respect it actually deserves. When you force your brain to stay awake staring at a bright screen, you're essentially overheating an engine that desperately needs its cooldown cycle. Stealing a little bit of sleep tonight might literally mean stealing your dreams and your productivity for tomorrow.
And you know what's wild? Just a quick 10-minute brisk walk completely shifts your physical brain chemistry. Think about those moments when your mind feels super sluggish and you try to fix the brain fog by just sitting longer at your desk, hoping motivation will magically strike. It doesn't work. But the moment you stand up and take a brisk walk, everything changes. Your heart rate elevates and your brain releases a flood of chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. And this isn't just for your cardio health. Movement literally builds structural neurons, which opens the door to instant clarity and creativity. Bottom line, static sitting kills your energy. Moving your body physically sharpens your mind.
All right, Section 3. The science of focus and breaks. It's time to finally dismantle the dangerous myth of multitasking.
Multitasking is a false comfort, guys. Every beep and notification pulls you into shallow thinking, completely destroying the laser beam focus you need to actually finish a task. Have you ever tried typing an email while checking your phone, replaying a past conversation in your head, and listening to a video in the background? You feel incredibly busy, but at the end of the day, you've accomplished literally nothing.
Your brain is aggressively jumping from task to task every 10 seconds. And the science behind why that's so exhausting is that every single time your attention jumps, you pay a switching cost. It drains a unit of your mental battery. Over an hour, those micro jumps shatter your energy and make deep work completely impossible.
Which leads us directly to this timeline of the ultradian rhythm. Notice how your brain naturally works in 90 to 120-minute cycles. If you look right at that 90-minute mark, that is your absolute peak focus. But by 120 minutes, you hit a biological wall. The rhythm ends, and a break is strictly required. You are not a machine. If you try to push past that 120-minute wall out of some weird sense of guilt, thinking a break is a waste of time, your focus just wanders, your error rate spikes, and you end up staring at a screen understanding absolutely nothing.
So here are your actionable shortcuts to keep that focus locked in without crashing. First, treat focus like an absolute superpower. Protect it fiercely. Give 100% of your attention to one single task. Second, honor your brain's natural limits. When you feel that mental fog roll in at the end of an ultradian cycle, take a 5 to 10-minute silent break. Just walk away, close your eyes, breathe, and do it without any guilt whatsoever. A short pause is exactly what gives you the power to bounce back with double the clarity.
Shifting gears a bit, let's jump into Section 4, Understanding Stress and Emotions, Navigating Your Internal Drivers.
You know, stress usually feels like this silent storm inside, but instead of ignoring it, we need to treat it like a vital dashboard warning light. We're so used to living with chronic stress that we just brush it off as being busy or having a slightly off day. But ignoring it actually slows your cognitive processing and fills your decision-making with fear. The key shift we have to make here is recognizing that stress is not the enemy. It's simply a helpful signal from your body telling you there's an internal imbalance. It's a prompt to pause, not a state to ignore.
So, when that internal warning light does flash, here are the exact steps to stop the panic, stabilize your emotions, and heal your mental state. First, physically pause and completely disconnect from whatever task is causing the friction. Next, take a deep breath to reset your nervous system. Then, literally ask your mind, what do you need right now? Sometimes you just need space, sometimes you need a walk. Finally, reset your expectations and move your body. We stress ourselves out so much by demanding machine-like perfection from a human body. Give yourself the grace to step back and recalibrate.
And here is why logic alone completely fails us. You can see the heavy friction when you're relying strictly on logical planning. You know, staring at a clipboard, doing tasks simply because you have to. That purely logical approach almost always leads to massive procrastination. Emotion, on the other hand, is the invisible engine that drives real, unforced action. Think about a first responder rushing into danger, or an artist pouring months into a single canvas. They aren't doing that because it's on a logical to-do list. They're doing it because of a deep emotional connection. If you want to unlock truly unstoppable energy, you have to connect your daily tasks to a real, personal, emotional why.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the magic of visuals and repetition. This is where we cement your entire operating system upgrade.
It's exactly like building physical muscle. You can't just hear an inspiring idea once, swipe away, and expect your life to magically change. Our modern world is totally obsessed with endlessly consuming new information. We read a brilliant quote, we feel a burst of inspiration for exactly 2 seconds, and then we immediately scroll to the next video. But your brain does not learn that way. Repetition is the actual language of the brain. Consuming new ideas daily without repeating them just leads to inspiration without transformation. If you want a new mental OS to actually stick, you have to repeat it daily until your subconscious pathways take over and it becomes part of your identity.
Take a look at this processing split. It's crazy. 80% visual processing power versus a mere 20% for text. Our brains devour images and colors instantly. If I give you a massive paragraph of text versus a beautifully designed infographic, your brain will naturally, biologically prefer the visual. Visuals deliver instant emotion, context, and meaning in a fraction of a second. Text, on the other hand, requires slow decoding, heavy mental lifting, and intense concentration. This perfectly explains why we remember faces way better than names and maps way better than written directions.
To really lock in this mind upgrade, you want to use these specific techniques to turn fleeting thoughts into permanent automatic habits. Stop relying purely on plain text to-do lists. Start repeating your goals daily to build strong neural pathways. Use mind maps and color-coded notes to engage that 80% visual processing power we just talked about. Create vision boards to make your goals a reality. A vision board is brilliant because it acts as an automatic background processor for your brain, constantly feeding it the images of what you want to achieve without you even having to actively think about it.
By combining deep emotional connection with daily visual repetition, you're speaking directly to your brain in a language it actually understands and permanently remembers.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. Action is what makes knowledge powerful. We've covered everything today, from the deep biological foundations of sleep and exercise to the mechanics of focus, your emotional drivers, and the power of visual repetition. These aren't just neat theories. They are the silent tools you can use to shift from ordinary to extraordinary. But remember, inspiration without integration is completely useless. So, take a good look at these 8 rules. Which shortcut are you going to press today? Take control of your mental operating system, and I'll see you in